Hello, world. Welcome to episode 150 of the Jimmy Canz Show. That's a classic supercard retrospective. We are going to discuss Starrcade 91, Battle Bowl, the Lethal Lottery. Let's talk about it. All right. This was a WCW show. It was held on December the 29th, 1991, from Norfolk, Virginia, at the Norfolk Scope. Attendance was 9,000, about 82% capacity for the Scope. Um, very respectable. It was broadcast live on pay-per-view, later released on VHS, courtesy of Turner Home Entertainment. Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone called the action of the show, and to be honest, this is a unique concept and one I wish they brought back in some form. Let me explain all the, what the concept is here for those of you unfamiliar with it. All the names are thrown in a hopper, pulled at random to create makeshift tag teams. Those tag teams then face each other in a standard tag match. You then have to win said standard tag match to be qualified for the Battle Bowl Battle Royal at the end of the night. That Battle Bowl is in two rings. Those that qualify start off in ring one. You need to be tossed over to ring two. Once in ring two, the over the top rope to the floor elimination rule is in effect. The lone person left in ring one then gets a little respite while the ring two competitors work to get down to one person left in ring two. And then at that point, the final two combatants, go at it in standard over the top battle royal rules. Honestly, I'm not a fan of the two ring thing, but other than that, I love this concept. And I wish it was brought back. We'll talk about it a little later, but let's get into the show. All right. They wasted no time at all in the partners picked on opposite teams here. As match one saw Marcus Bagwell get paired with Freebird Jimmy Jam Garvin to face Young Pistol Tracy Smothers and the other member of the Fabulous Freebirds, Michael P.S. Hayes. Birds had a do-nothing exchange until later in the match when Hayes laid out Garvin on instinct and kind of, grabbed from him, turned around, popped him, and then realized he laid out his normal partner. They argued with each other until the young up-and-coming Bagwell hit a fisherman's suplex on Smothers for the win. So Garvin and Bagwell advance, and Hayes and Garvin basically make up as well post-match. So our first two combatants in the Battle Bowl will be Bagwell and Garvin, or to qualify for it, I should say. Next up, the Dangerous Alliance members, World TV Champ Stunning Steve Austin, U.S. Champion Ravishing Rick Rude, took on Big Josh and Heavy Metal Van Hammer. The inexperienced Hammer did see a tag and a rude awakening later, and the Dangerous Alliance members advance to Battle Bowl. Dangerous Alliance involvement in the next contest as well as the Cruncher, Larry Zbyszko, accompanied by Medusa, ended up being paired with the 7'7" Elegante to face York Foundation member Richard Morton, who was paired with one half of the World Tag Team Champions, the Natural Dustin Rhodes. The veteran Zbyszko berates and screams at the almost 8-foot Argentinian, causing Gigante to then hit and grab his partner and throw him right into a double drop kick. Rhodes then covered Zbyszko for the win, and he and Morton advance on to Battle Bowl. Obviously, that tandem of Zbyszko and Elegante could not get along. Next, two unusual pairings. WCW light heavyweight champion Jushin Thunder Liger teams with Bill Kazmaier. Liger having recently captured the title from Pillman, taking on a team of Mike Graham and Diamond Dallas Page. Mike Graham, at this point on his career, is on the team, so I think we know Liger and Kaz are going over. Uh, this happened when powerful Kaz gorilla presses Liger over his head and aided toss cross body onto Page for the win. So Bill Kazmaier and Jushin Liger advance on to Battle Bowl. Next saw the pairing of WCW World Champion, the total package Lex Luger, and the enforcer himself, Double A Arn Anderson from the Dangerous Alliance, taking on the York Foundation's Terrence Taylor and the Z-Man. Pretty obvious that the team with the world champion and Double A is going to go over in this one based on who their opposition is. You know, at this point in their careers, Zink and Taylor, they're just a rung and a half above enhancement talent. And, you know, you're not going to have a big thing like this Battle Bowl and not have, you know, your world champion in it if they're going to be involved in the qualifiers. The other half of the World Tag Team Champions and the recently returned Ricky the Dragon Steamboat on one team with Todd Champion, taking on the team of Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker and uh, Cactus Jack. Parker, let's be honest, glorified enhancement, um, is beat up in the locker room by Abdullah the Butcher, who wanted to be Cactus's partner. Um, yeah, a beat up Parker eventually crawls out, is tagged in and tossed in by Jack. Um, so not a shock that the team of Steamboat and Champion go over. Uh, you know, Parker beat up before he even gets out there, and then kind of beat up again by his own partner and tossed in there. So Steamboat and Champion advance. Sting ends up paired with recent rival Abdullah the Butcher to take on Flying Brian and Beautiful Bobby. Shenanigans abound here as Abdullah just keeps attacking his own partner Sting. Abdullah eventually attacks Sting with a pencil at one point, and Pillman comes in to save his opponent. Uh, it's kind of crazy. Jack comes out, gets in the mix as well, but ends up hitting Abdullah. This allows Sting to get the win, and because he obviously wasn't being attacked by his own partner at this point, Abdullah and Jack then tussle with each other. It seems that their partnership slash friendship is over. I think the funniest thing, though, in all this chaos was watching Pillman celebrate Sting's pin. Your team just lost. You know, I'm glad you're happy for your friend, but he just pinned your partner. Yeah, this was kind of funny. But anyway, next, Rick Steiner paired with the Night Stalker. The Night Stalker was actually replacing an injured Diamond Stud for the event. They took on the team of Big Van Vader and Mr. Hughes. Undetected tag by Vader allowed him to hit a powerful decapitating clothesline to the Night Stalker, followed by a splash for the win. So, I mean, as much of a tag team specialist as Rick Steiner is, the monstrous duo of Hughes and Vader was just too much for Steiner, who was kind of hampered by the Night Stalker. I mean, We know the Night Stalker is Brian Clark, who eventually goes on to become uh, Adam Bomb, Wrath, whatever other moniker you want to call him, and turns into a solid competitor. But at this point in his career, is pretty green as grass. Next, Scott Steiner, paired with the other half of the Patriots, Firebreaker Chip, takes on Johnny B. Bad and Arachnaman. Four baby faces in this one. Crowd just didn't really know what to do. Seemed to pop for everything. Who did they really want going over? They like all four of these men. Scotty gets the win for his team after a big release overhead belly to belly on Arachnaman. So Chip and Steiner advance. So both members of the Patriots going on to the Lethal Lottery Battle Bowl. The Rapmaster PN News teamed with Young Pistol Steve Armstrong take on Ron Simmons and Thomas Rich of the York Foundation. Uh, Simmons with a big spine buster on Armstrong got his team the win. So this is our final qualifier. The Battle Bowl is now set. The Battle Bowl consisted of the following 20 men: uh, Scott Steiner, Firebreaker Chip, Ron Simmons, Thomas Rich, Mr. Hughes, Big Van Vader, Sting, Abdullah the Butcher, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Todd Champion, Stunning Steve Austin, Ravishing Rick Rude, the Total Package Lex Luger, the Enforcer Double A Arn Anderson, Bill Kazmaier, Jushin Thunder Liger, Richard Morton, The Natural Dustin Rhodes, Marcus Alexander Bagwell, and Jimmy Jam Garvin. Um, so, as I said, two rings, overcomplicated battle royal. Let's be honest, two rings and all that's not needed. The odd couple random tag teams to qualify, great concept. Uh, but then it gets a little too crazy when you throw two rings in the mix, and the convoluted nature of throwing your opponent from one ring to the next and then that ring to the floor. Why overcomplicate things? Anyway, this one boiled down to world champion Lex Luger and Sting. Luger surviving ring one, having his rest as the fan favorite babyface Sting, fighting the uphill climb. Sting would end up getting the win, dumping the champ to the floor. It was a little peculiar elimination. Luger was kind of teetering, and then Sting, gets bounces off the ropes to shove. So the slingshot shove to push him over the. I don't know. It was just kind of funny to watch, especially the angle which he took it. Um, anyway, as I stated, this isn't a bad overall concept. The Lethal Lottery and the Battle Bowl, it just needs a bit of tweaking in a modern era, and I think it would work out really well. Um, an entire show like this, though, random uh, tag team matches, and then the overcomplicated battle royal doesn't work. I think if you limit the participants slightly, so instead of a 20-man battle royal, to whittle it down a little bit so you don't have quite as many. Add some other matches onto a card. Don't have your world champion involved in the lethal lottery concept aspect of it, and then make the Battle Bowl winner the number one contender. That then forces your pairs to have to work together if they want to get a chance to become number one contender. And the other thing I think would help this concept, maybe give it a little bit more of that Royal Rumble feel, is if the team members were unannounced prior to their entrance. So it's like, okay, on contest is a lethal lottery battle bowl qualifying match. The first competitor on team one, and then the music hits. Their tag team partner will be, and then their music hits. You kind of get that little bit of, oh, who's it going to be type vibe. So, and then in terms of the battle royal aspect of it, you don't need two rings. Just make it a straight up battle royal. Um, that's my 2 cents. All in all, not that bad of a show. Uh, just needed some variety. Just going from tag match to tag match to tag match to tag match, and then a battle royal. Um, I think that you could have made a little bit stronger card if you tweaked it a little bit differently. So that's my 2 cents. So well, decent amount of Hall of Fame uh, involvement in this one. 20 WW Hall of Famers involved in this show. Obviously Race being involved with Luger still. You had Steamboat on the show, Austin, Abdullah, Double A, Ron Simmons, Foley, Scott Hall, Zabisco, Medusa slash Alondra Blaze at ringside. Sting, both Freebirds were on the show. Rude, DDP, Morton, Liger, Vader, both Steiners. You tack on Jim Ross on commentary, Eric Bischoff doing interviews. Um, what is that? Like 22 Hall of Famers? That's a lot of Hall of Famers. Um, so, uh, 10 belt scale on a card with no championships defended. Wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. Kind of stale. Um, the needle's kind of in the middle on this one. I mean, it did okay in terms of some of the story developments, uh, but it wasn't anything to write home about really either. Uh, yeah, it's the middle of the road. It's a 5. So a little step down from that last Clash, which was an impressive show. So there you have it. Yeah, I'll give it a 5. So next up in our classic retrospectives will be the 1992 Royal Rumble. So I think this will be the last one I have coming at you all before the new year. So have a wonderful holiday season, a wonderful new year, wherever you all are. Take care of one another, and I will see you all when I see you.